Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, everyone. This is Miss Natasha here from Natasha Connects. I am an author, educator, and speaker, and I happen to be authentically autistic. I join us today and tell us why you decide to create instead of hate. I have the lovely Cynthia here with us from Disabled Discourse, and I'd love for you to please introduce yourself and tell us all about you.
Yeah, I'm an author on Instagram. I've been published a couple other places as well, but my Instagram is Disabled Discourse, and it's trying to kind of break down the daily experiences of disability and how to emotionally process all of the baggage that can come with inaccessibility, grieving for health, and similar challenges that we all face, whether it's chronic illness or neurodivergence or mobility, or I have a lot of experience with a few things. So
Wow. For over a year, I read your page and felt like you were saying words that I couldn't articulate, and you were like articulating it all for me. And I saved a lot of the posts. I shared a lot of the posts just because it resonated with me so much. So I really do appreciate you stepping into something like this and I guess answering the call. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I actually started a year ago because I just finally got treatment after 10 years of having arthritis that kind of just like stuck me in bed all the time. So the second I got treatment and started to feel better, I started writing, and that's why my post just started kind of suddenly a year ago.
Look at that. And I could only imagine like that what do I do to get all of these things out of my head? And
Yeah.
that feeling of, oh, what do I do to even make myself remotely well enough to even do it? So that's like inner strength. Yeah. All right, I'll get started. And I know this is like, to me, I don't even know why I'm even asking, but I still want others to know like the reasoning behind why you started it. So, did the industry you're in choose you, or did you choose the industry? So, in just terms of why did you start doing this? And you did answer earlier, but just in like, what was that push or that nudge that said, you know what, try it this way?
I mean, I've always really liked writing. It's a means of creativity and expression. And as a kid, I didn't have a lot of safe ways to express myself. So writing was just a place that I could externalize all the thoughts that were in my head without needing to rely on someone else who may or may not be available. And books have always been a source of company for me, and TV. I really liked stories about like groups of friends who formed a found family before I even knew I was queer, before I even recognized the problems with my own family. I really liked the idea of a found family and community. So I think that's really shaped how I write and the intention of my writing. Um, and I mean, words, other people's writing and the words that they've created helped me find myself. So now I kind of want to pass that along to other people. And I still journal every day, and I still try to write out my feelings when I don't know what to say to someone. It's just the form of communication I know best. So I think that's why I chose writing as a medium.
That's so lovely. And I feel like books were my friends as well, and movies got me into more deeper imaginative mindset when it came to telling stories. So
Mhm.
that was wonderful. Um, did you go to college for the current or university for the current position you're in? So like did that background, is it helping for the in regards to the structuring your writing, or does it have nothing to do with what you went to school for?
I actually went to a lot of schools, so I did 2 years of nursing and then I got sick, so I had to drop out. And then I did a couple of years of business and I did not like it. So then I finished with an English and linguistics degree. And I think the nursing really helps when I'm discussing the healthcare system because I have the perspective on the inside and the outside with it. Um, and I actually still tutor nursing students on the side just to stay current in what's going on there. I think my 2 years of business just taught me to dislike capitalism, which is a nice parallel with disability theory, anyways. And I mean, English and linguistics probably taught me my essay form of writing because a lot of my post styles are in an essay format, limited to the captions on Instagram. But while I was doing that degree, I also took a critical disability theory course, and you'd think that it would have been the thing that inspired me, but it was actually a terrible experience because the professor wasn't disabled and wasn't like able to like authentically
Sure.
connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she gave me an A minus because my attendance wasn't perfect in the class because I was disabled.
Wow. Wow.
Um, so I actually wrote a play criticizing that experience, and I'm trying to turn it into a web series right now. So
Wow.
it
Wow.
did inspire my writing, but not in the way I would have predicted.
Right. Wow. I was like hesitant to ask that question because I didn't like know like if it would be completely relevant, but it's so relevant. And wow. That is like exactly the creative mindset that I always like wish to find people like that would like portray their stories through different mediums. I don't know if I'm saying
Yeah,
that right, and that's so neat.
yeah. I was actually going to do my master's in critical disability theory, but the courses are only in person in a very expensive city in Toronto. So
Oh yeah,
I couldn't afford to move. I'd lose all of my specialists just to study about how systems are inaccessible for disabled people in a system that's inaccessible for me. And they didn't offer classes online. So it, it even if I could make it work, it didn't feel like it was worth it because it felt very similar to that class I was taking where there's just a disconnect from the authentic experience.
yeah. And if you're the person that is experiencing it and you're raising your hand all the time, and then it's like you're saying something bad, but you're just saying your experience, and
Yeah,
it's like that happened a lot because the teachers or the profs maybe they don't really notice that you're just talking from what you know. It's not your fault that you're speaking from what you know. Let's try to make it cohesive, but it's just one-sided. So
and it's really hard when something so personal as the subject matter of an objective conversation. It's a very weird feeling.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. It reminded me of like again the reasoning behind why I started Create Don't Hate was because of the differences in styles and teachings, and it wasn't kosher to all. It wasn't universal design,
Yeah.
and they're so I decided to speak up on those matters, and it was hard, but I feel that it's going to be worth it when we see that there's more people with those same types of experiences,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then maybe putting it into some sort of the policies and procedures changes.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's
Would be
just
nice.
yeah, yeah, it would be nice. Um, okay, so I'm going to continue on now. Um, in your opinion, how does one become great?
I mean, I like to operate on the assumption that everyone is already great and doesn't have to prove greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's nothing inherently wrong with the way we are that we have to overcome, and assuming that everything originates with good intention. Like, these behaviors may not be serving us, but they were originally something we learned to protect ourselves. So it's not a matter of overcoming ourselves, it's learning better ways to serve ourselves. And I honestly believe in following joy. I mean, if we want to define greatness outside of a capitalist narrative of money or fame or power, I think deconstructing greatness outside of those values, it becomes a person who's just fully comfortable with being their authentic self and who can find happiness wherever it might be for them. Somebody who, like, is fulfilled, not inherently powerful or something. But I think my favorite people in life have been the people who are authentically themselves.
I love that. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. All right. How do you navigate hope?
I really like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a line in it that says, in darkest times, hope is something you give yourself, which I really, my 10 years being like basically stuck in bed and in pain all the time, I watched The Last Airbender 40 times, start to finish. I have seen the show a lot. And yeah, that line's always been like a really special one for me. But I think like the secret to perseverance and survival is hope. Because if right now is really hard, hope is the ability to imagine the future as something easier or better. And it gives us something to do. So it's kind of a source of empowerment at times. Mm-hmm. So I try to access hope by reframing the situation, by either like zooming out or zooming in, I guess, where whichever perspective is going to give me the ability to do something about it, which, like with the pandemic, I can't really stop COVID or being immunocompromised, but I can find ways that being at home actually gives me opportunities to explore more of my identity or to try new things, like my Instagram account. Mm-hmm. And then, like other situations that are like if I was rejected by somebody that I like, I can't really change how they feel or how I feel, but I can kind of zoom out of the situation and then look at how this isn't a continuation of a pattern of lovelessness, that like I am at a point where I can have love now, and that's a huge step for me. And I was at a point where I could articulate those feelings and have those conversations, and it led to rejection, but like that's still a step forward towards the thing that I want to work on. And that's still a sign that I'm improving. And I still get to keep my friend. I still like get to have valuable relationships. It's just not necessarily the one that I initially wanted.
Right. Right.
So I try to, like it feels a lot like zooming out or zooming in, but wherever there is something that I can do, or wherever there's a way to look at the situation that makes me feel empowered. Mm-hmm. But I also think that hope can make things harder too. I was sick for 10 years where treatment was completely available for me, and the doctors knew that it was the one that would work, but it was expensive and I couldn't qualify for the funding. So they made me wait 10 years, and I lost the use of my hands because I was waiting for funding, not because there was nothing to do. And that was a hard place to sit in for 10 years with like this hope that all of this could go away. All of it was unnecessary and avoidable, but not available to me yet. And that was hard. So I kind of have like a couple feelings about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But thank you for being so open, because it's all I'm hearing in my head is it's a sticky situation. And then
Hmm.
it's like trying to like get it off, that's very difficult and it takes a while. Like
Yeah.
that's all I could think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me go on. Let me see now. How do you maximize the return on your time? So executive functioning have always been difficult for me. So I asked the question so then maybe I can learn some things from other people.
Right. Yeah. Um, I think if you're doing something that brings you joy, you're already getting a return without relying on a result. So the writing of my posts is the thing that feels good more than the reception of them. So even if I post something and nobody likes it, I'm still happy because I wanted it to exist. So I think that really helps. And I also really like the concept in disability theory. It's called CRIP time, which is the doing of things at the natural pace that our bodies or minds work rather than a prescribed schedule. So it's listening to when the time is right for action or for rest, and we can always take breaks, and nothing has to get done. And if today's not the day, it's not the day, and it's about giving ourselves what we need and not worrying about how fast we're moving or how efficiently we're doing it. And I think a lot of that comes out of disability. With disability, we're wealthy in time. There's days, if you're stuck in bed for an entire day and staring at your ceiling, you know how many minutes are in a day, and there are a lot. And
Yes.
suddenly you're like, you can drown in time when you're stuck in bed, or when you're on enough pain meds that you're not in pain, but you can't really think about anything anymore, and you're just watching The Last Airbender again.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
you can do a lot in a day, or you can do absolutely nothing and have a lot of a day. But it just kind of deconstructs that entire idea of how we think about time, and it makes me less worried about doing enough, because I know how long a day can be if I only have a day to do something.
Mm. Wow. That really, like, again, that just brought it to my, like, I thought about it where your time doesn't look like my time and vice versa. So do what suits you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what came to my mind. And I'm just like, that's what I decided. That's what I decided to do. Is
Yeah.
for my children's book, Exceptionally You, the slogan is, you can only be you, that's all you can do. And what you said kind of brought me back into, I'm allowed to do life the way that suits me. And because I listen to so many people, oh, you're not doing it fast enough, or you're not doing it fast enough, or you're not, and that broken record just like kept going, and I was so mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
And once I just broke it and just started doing it in my own, you said crip time,
Yeah.
I realized that I can get things done.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be done. It just has to be done in the way that my brain works,
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Exactly.
yours. My way my brain works. So,
Yeah. Time has to be accessible too.
and I'm learning a lot of that over the last 5 years. I lost my youngest brother in 2017,
Yeah.
and that was a catalyst to open your mouth and start your journey.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that did it for me, and I'm grateful because I get to speak with many different minds and learn loads of things, and also how to be authentically me,
Yeah.
right? And it looks different. It is different. Like I like my I'm just gonna be I say Miss Natasha because I'm approached like something's amiss. Oh, I don't know what's wrong. There's something I don't know what's going every second. So people say don't understand. Oh, why you say Miss Natasha? Well, it's just the same reason why you want to be. There's a reason why. Just the same reason maybe you want to be labeled in a certain way. It's the same
Hmm.
for me. It should be respected,
Yeah.
and I'm also showing like if you dig deeper, I could tell you why, but you don't really want to dig deeper. So just address me in the way I like, thank you. And it's like, oh, she thinks she's something. No, I'm wanting to be addressed in this way, and it should be okay.
Hmm.
There shouldn't be any hoopla
Yeah.
because I'm doing this for a reason. And like, I don't know. I just would like to reiterate that to for a lot of other young people who may not have been able to do it. And you know, I used to have like blue hair and blue lipstick, and I used to wear black hair and black lipstick, and I used to like. Why do you see a black girl in grunge? Why do you see a black girl with? Well, it's this is what it was for me, and I couldn't fit anywhere.
Hmm.
But again, it made me feel good. So I have to like remember it's not hurting anyone to do certain things. I understand the intention of certain looks and whatnot. I get it, but that just the notion of just being able to express yourself
Hmm.
regardless of the weather. Like I don't know. I went to my first Comic Con a couple years ago, maybe about 4 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was by myself. Okay, fine, whatever, but it was so fun.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
They are a lot of fun.
so like just to see like again like there's so many. The first day I went, I was really intimidated, but you know what they had accommodations for people with disabilities.
They do. Yeah.
Bring someone if you need to. You can have the pins to say no strangers please, no talking, no masks, because I'm afraid of people in masks.
Yeah.
Certain ones are not cute.
Yeah.
Right? So I just like felt like wow, this is a portion of me. And I
Hmm.
never knew that like it was like I had a strong like this is me moments. Like I'm standing in a place where this woman made the inside of a Pokemon ball and what it
Oh
would look
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
You seen those on Facebook and all this?
Yeah.
Like and you're seeing people create like these creations of different ideas, like paintings and all sorts. It's just the miniatures of
Yeah.
like I'm just floored with the imagination of others,
Yeah.
and I don't want mine to go. Oh, because you're this age, it has to go. Oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have no. I don't have to do anything that you're saying. What I do have to do is stay authentically me.
Yeah. Is a weird thing with Comic Con because people in their 40s and 50s are the ones making the things that everybody's there to celebrate. So I don't know why they would.
I'm there and seeing other people like I love like seeing when people dress in a theme of, let's just say, Toy Story,
Yeah.
what they create,
Yeah.
or they mimic they look exactly like a character, like maybe from um like Howl's Moving Castle.
That's my favorite book and movie. So
Wow, that's the one that came to my head because I was gonna say Kiki's Delivery Service, but
good.
you understand what I mean. Like those types of things, like I couldn't conversate about those things with a lot of people, so it was just like that side of me has to go, be pushed down and stay down and never show it. But no, that's not.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, when the parts of us are antagonists to connection, it's really hard to find room for them.
There you are. There it is. There it is. So I really do thank you. I just want to ask one more question, and then I'll start the reasonings to why I started Create Don't Hate.
Sure.
What are you most proud of?
Oh, I don't know. I have not writing based. I like anything that comes to mind isn't really about like actual accomplishments. I have a cat that's about 7 pounds, so he's just like a small cat, and he's from a big hoarding house. So when I got him, he was pretty sure he hated me. He wouldn't do any like have anything to do with me. He hid under all my furniture. I had to feed him under the furniture because he wouldn't come out. I kept like giving him toys that he looked offended for having. And he stayed under the cabinet for about a month of me just like laying on the floor and talking to him, and he wouldn't come out. He wouldn't even use a litter box unless the lights were off and I was in another room. And then about a month later, he did come out, and he would walk around, but if he saw me, he'd hide again. And then later he would acknowledge me, but anytime I got too close or he'd suddenly get scared, he'd scratch my arm up and then run away and hide again. So it took about 6 months. And then one day he just jumped into my arms and started like pushing his face into my face. And now he sleeps like on my neck every night. And he purrs so hard that his tongue falls out of his mouth. And he's just, turns out he's a really weird cat. But I'm really proud of that relationship because it took a lot of time and patience, and I also just really appreciated watching how hard his trauma was for him to come out. Like even in a safe environment, it took him 6 months before he felt safe. Like that was validating for me too.
Yeah, that is such a sweet story. That is such a sweet story.
He's asleep over there, otherwise I'd bring him out. But sometimes when I'm on a meeting for work, he'll like jump into my lap and start snuggling, and all of my coworkers know him now.
Yeah, that is so sweet. Oh, like I'm like you gave me a great warm feeling because you still like that proud. It doesn't have to be like that. Well, I saved the world today. No, like it made such a impact on me. Like that's so sweet.
Yeah, and I
So
like
sweet.
I'm probably the only person who's got to see the authentic version of this cat because he was at that hoarding house and then he was at a shelter, and then it took me 6 months, and anytime somebody comes over, he hides again. So I'm very proud of being the person that he trusts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why we should adopt. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great story about the reasonings why you should adopt and how it may not be perfect in the beginning, but just keep on going,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, the shelter didn't have a return policy, but they made
Yeah.
one for this guy because they were pretty sure his
Was gonna come
personality was.
back. Look at that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna remember that story for to ask if you can speak on that when I do the pet parent series.
Yeah, autism and cats is a very weird combination. So I've got a lot of stories.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's either for they're like I'm in the middle of loving them and being scared because my cousin's cat always used to go hide under the bed and then scare me. But that's just like child traumas.
Yeah.
But I still love pets. I just never got to have any. So I feel like in my later years I will have one. I don't know what yet, or maybe a
It's
dog or
nice just having something alive in the house.
yeah, yeah.
And then if you're asleep and you hear something in the other room, you can assume it's the cat and not.
Anything else. All right, let me get this conversation almost to a close. I'm just going to read the reasonings why I started Create Don't Hate, and then I'm going to ask if you can please say if you have any other comments, and please if you could tell everyone where to reach you. So let me get started. Create Don't Hate was born out of frustration, the frustration of individuals hating on people like me with differences. We started a movement of hope, courage, and love to build community and connection in the process. Create Don't Hate is a real practical way of giving hope to those who may have been muted and shut down because of being who they are. Create Don't Hate is an anthem I would play to get through the tough times. So I would now like to ask if you have any words that before you go, and to tell us where everyone could reach you.
Yeah. I mean, thank you very much for all of this. This is really nice. I can be reached on Instagram at Disabled Discourse. I have my email linked to my account. And yeah, I'm Cynthia Decore. I'm a writer. I'm chronically ill, neurodivergent, queer, also bald. And I'm just really proud of who I am.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'm so happy that you took a chance on me. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.